Well, hey friends, this is Jennifer, and this is the Jennifer Allwood Show, the podcast for women who want to find freedom in both their life and in their business. I own a multi-7-figure-a-year coaching business. I'm also a certified life coach. So I have the honor of helping thousands of women every single month make money in the online space and help them to get unstuck from whatever is holding them back, all without sacrificing their faith or their family. In this show, you're going to get the very best life and business advice, always with a healthy dose of Jesus. So buckle in, my friend. I'm so excited that you are here. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Good Ranchers. Go to goodranchers.com and use the code GEN30 to get $30 off your order of American-made meat for the month of May. All right, ladies. So we had last week my twice-a-year mastermind, my live meetup. And we had it in Nashville just because we were looking for a fun city outside of Kansas City that we could go to. Nashville feels, kind of central. It's beautiful. Found an incredible event space, all the things. So it was interesting in the days and weeks leading up to the live event. And this is the only live event that I do anymore. I have decided that I do not want to do, conferences with 400 and 500 and 600 people like we've done in the past. I don't have the emotional capacity for that. I'm not in the right season of life anymore for that. Jason and I like to travel too much. It's so much work. There's a whole list of things, right? So in the days and weeks leading up to the only live events that I still do, which is for mastermind women in my next level mastermind, I was trying to figure out how I want to open up the conference. And, we're together for 2.5 days and we are brainstorming about business, and we have guest speakers and we have breakout sessions and we have hot seats. And the entire intention is to help these women walk away from the mastermind with new ideas, new things that they can implement, a refreshing, if you will, of being excited about their business. Some of you, business feels like a grind right now. It feels like a drag, and it's hard to grow when you're feeling like the business is heavy. So our hope is that always the women are going to walk away from the event and just feel like this was worth the time and the money and the effort. It was worth the entire year of, paying for the mastermind to be here in a room with other women who are in a similar stage of life, who are in a similar place in business, who all have the same, goals in mind, who are all, they love their families, their faith is really important to them, and they want to grow, but not at the detriment to their family or their faith. So when I'm thinking about, okay, what can I open this conference with? I then switch to what is going to be the thing, what would I need to talk to the ladies about in order for them to receive everything that God would have for them this week? They have left their businesses. They have left their families. They have left their homes. Some of them have flown across the country. Is there something that's going to prevent them? Because they've made a lot of sacrifices to be here, but I want them to walk away with a change. I'm so uninterested in just tickling people's ears. Literally, me and my team, it's not just me, we lay awake at night, I think, trying to figure out what is it that our people need? What is it that these women need that's going to help them to get to the next level? And so I'm very serious about it not just being a rah-rah session. I want them to have strategy. I want them to have tactics. I want them to have specific things they walk away with. And as I was thinking on that and praying on that, I was thinking, there's some women that they won't walk away with everything that they could because they don't even think that they belong in the room. They don't even think that they belong here. They already think that everybody is way ahead of them, or they think that they just are, their business is not the same size, or they just got started, or they've been doing this forever and therefore they have nothing in common. It's interesting how the enemy will come in through a side door to derail us before we're even in the room. And I started out, I think, in a pretty shocking, we'll call it a keynote if you want, where I was just up there talking by myself, where I told them, because as I was planning this and the Lord was showing me that there's women who they're not even sure that they belong here, and they are not even sure what they're doing here. And they're not even sure if they're in the right place, in the right room, in the wrong group. And they're not going to be able to receive well because of that. And so I felt like the Lord was impressing upon me. So Jennifer, I want you to tell them your story of this last couple of weeks. And I want you to share with them and be vulnerable with them and tell them the thing that was making you almost not want to come, that was making you not want to come to your own mastermind. The thing that you were like, this is the thing that could derail me. And I knew it could derail me in recent weeks. I also knew that I would probably have a vulnerability hangover after I shared it. But I did. I shared with the women in the group the lie that I had been believing, the lie that I was telling myself, the thing that I was thinking disqualifies me right now. And my hope was that as I started the conference with that other women would be able to recognize what lie they're believing about themselves or their business, what they're thinking that disqualifies them right now. And I wanted for them to get to a place where they would be able to talk to their table about it and say it out loud so that we could shine a light on it. It would lose its grip on them and it would free them in a way that would allow them to receive everything that God had for them for the next couple of days. But I knew it had to start with me first. So we're going to share with you on this podcast my talk from the beginning of the mastermind. And it feels really vulnerable to do this. And also, you know what? Sometimes just somebody going first opens the door for you to talk about your own fears so that you can realize how crazy some of them are so that you can get on with it. So I hope that this is a blessing to someone today.
And so when I was praying about it and I was asking the Lord, like, what is it going to be? I felt like the Lord wanted me to share with you guys just a struggle that I'm having right now. I'm going to not cry, I promise. But, and it's interesting because I would never normally start like a conference with a story like this. But what the Lord was showing me is but this is what we're going to start with today. So I think that sometimes what the enemy does is he wants us to feel like we're the only one, that we're all alone. We're the only one that has this struggle. And even if it's in an area of your life that doesn't, it's not like business per se, it affects your business. Even if what you're going through is on a personal level, it still affects your business. So that's what we're going to start with. So I thought about trying to convince my team we shouldn't have this. It's not that I wanted to cancel, but I didn't want to come. Did anybody else not want to come? It's okay if you say that. Yeah, right? I didn't want to come. I'm like, it's a huge sacrifice. It takes a lot out of me physically. Like for days I'll have a stomach ache, just hoping that I do a good job for you guys. And it's a ton of money and it's hard on my team. And the truth is, okay, here's the truth, is that in my head, I was like, can I be honest with them about why I really didn't want to come? And so I'm going to tell you why I didn't want to come, because I know that there's things that you guys are carrying with you also, and that you think that you're all alone. I know, like, when I went to my mastermind in California recently, like, I have one of the smallest businesses in the room, and it always makes me feel like, do I belong? Is it, I'm in a room with people making $100 million a year, and I'm like, Lord, what on earth are you doing putting me in this room? And I think there's probably some of you that are like that today. Some of you may feel like your business has gotten stuck. Does anybody feel like their business has gotten stuck? Anybody feeling like they just need something else? And so there are some of you that have halted business altogether. There are some of you that you're feeling like you shouldn't even be here because you're not even actually making any sales right now. And so as I was pondering this, I was thinking just about the lies that we tell ourselves. And even if it's maybe not in this season, there are seasons where we go through things. So I'm thinking about that, and I'm thinking about how I can share with you. And as I was preparing, I was thinking about Christy, and I was talking with Christy, and I was thinking, gosh, how do I start this conference today? And I was telling Christy, like, what my struggles were. And she's like, well, then you're going to have to share that. And I'm like, I don't want to share that. But the Lord was already, like, dealing with me on it. And the thing is, it's such a ridiculous reason. And you guys are going to be like, wait, that's it? Like, wah. But here's the deal. I have gained 33 pounds in 18 months. And it's because of that I thought about canceling. Isn't that the strangest thing? And it's such a, like, when I say it out loud, I know it sounds ridiculous. But what's interesting is it's never like the thing that we think that it is. It's how we think about the thing and what we think that thing represents. And so I was having to really coach myself this week because I was thinking, okay, I'm going to walk into the room and everybody's going to be able to tell. And the truth is, you may or may not be able to tell. And I'm not, by the way, I'm not sharing this, to get anybody to say, oh, you look great. Please know that. You know my heart. But I was thinking of just how disappointed I am in myself. And some of you feel that way about your business. I was thinking, if I'm heavier, they're going to think I'm not as smart as I usually am. Isn't that weird how we can make that leap, like in our mind, between something that, like, and when I say it out loud rationally, I'm like, it makes no sense. And then I was thinking, but I'm going to have to worry about walking, and angles and all of the things. But I know some of you have a situation in your world that is also ridiculous, but it's affecting your business. And it's not making you show up in your business the way that you want it to. Maybe it's a failed marriage that is literally really affecting your business. Maybe you've got a kiddo that's completely off of the rails. Maybe your business is down in revenue this year. Maybe you've had a failed launch. There are things all of you are going through, if I was a betting woman. A lie that you're maybe believing, something that is keeping you from showing up in your business the way that you can and the way that you should.
Friends, I know it's no secret that I am not the cook in the house. I am not the one that makes any of the food. I'm just not good at it. But recently, you might have seen on our Instagram stories, Jason was grilling steak and chicken and burgers all at once. And he usually does this every Sunday or Monday night for us. This way we have food that we can eat on all week. We're less tempted to go out. We're less tempted to eat things that are bad for us. It just helps us at the beginning of the week really set up for the week. So if you have not been to goodranchers.com yet, you need to go. This is trustworthy, 100% American-made meat ready for cooking for a week in advance, for your, grilling party, for your summer parties, whatever it is that you're about to have. And they have generously offered Gen30 as the code that you can use to get $30 off of any box of meat. So $30 off any box with my code Gen30. Go to goodranchers.com. That is Good Ranchers, American meat delivered right to your door.
So as I was thinking about this, I was thinking most of us are just really scared to say the thing out loud. And, when I was talking with Christy, by the way, I'm Marco Polo. Christy, as you can tell, is a marathon runner. Jen, as you can tell, is no longer a marathon runner, right? And so I'm like, it felt so vulnerable, even just to share it with her and to not be like, oh, I've put on a few pounds, but to actually be like, look, I've gained 33 pounds in 18 months and it's making me feel really bad. What I loved about Christy's response is she, number one, didn't foo-foo it off. Number two, she said, how can I help you? And that was so freeing for me because I was like, she said, can I come and run a 5K with you? And I was like, oh my gosh, who would come to Kansas City to run a 5K with me? That's ridiculous. You have small kids. But it was amazing in just talking to someone about a struggle, how she was willing just to step in and be like, what can I do to help in this area? So as I'm thinking and I'm preparing for today, my thought was, what is the thing that all of you are struggling with? The thing you don't want to share out loud. The fear that you have about your business. The fact that, you're afraid you're not going to make payroll this week. The fact that you're afraid you're not going to get that book deal. There's something going on in your life, in your work, that I think is probably really affecting your work. So if we go back to my lie, the lie is, you've gained 33 pounds. They're not going to think I'm smart. The women are going to be disappointed. How am I going to look, etc. So whatever it is that you're going through, I want you to know that the enemy takes that and he distorts it. He comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And a lot of times he can get to your business through a side door. And it's never the thing that you think that it's going to be, but it's through this side angle that the enemy comes in. And he takes something that really is supposed to be good and that his blessing is on, but he derails us with that. So the Lord and I, we struggled this week. We wrestled that out. Christy helped me process that. And it felt like a 100-pound weight was lifted. And literally only 5 pounds was. I did lose 5 pounds before I came. But, so thank you. Thank you very much. I only had 2 bites of the apple strudel thing last night. It was so good. But it felt just so much better just to say it out loud. Sometimes you guys will come into our Boxer threads and you will share some things. And I know that it feels like that for you. It feels like, okay, I'm just going to say the thing and then it feels better, right? But a lot of you are still holding some stuff in. And I can look into your faces because I know so many of your stories. And I can pinpoint different people in the room who are going through some stuff, and I'm making eye contact with them on purpose. And I want you to know that whatever the lie is that you're believing, whatever the lies that you're telling yourself, whatever you think disqualifies you right now, that I think that if some of you would get that out, you would feel a lot better. Because you can't get the healing that you need when you're not really honest about what the issue is. It's going to feel vulnerable, which business does also. It's going to feel scary. It'll possibly feel embarrassing. And that's okay. my thought process is this. If we can get the thing out of you that's in the back of your brain anyway, the thing that you really are kind of stuck about, because let's say that you're not making the sales that you want to. You probably don't have a sales problem. There's something, probably a sticking point, something you're bumping up against, a thought that you need to get healed that's preventing you from making the sales that you want. It's all related to your business in some way, I promise you.
All right, friends. I hope that you enjoyed this podcast. Will I regret sharing this? I shared it, in the safety of a room of 40 to 50 women. But after we were done, I told my team, this is something that everybody needs to hear. This is something that can help all women. And so I wanted to be vulnerable and share it here in the hopes that it would be a blessing to some of you. There are some of you that wish that you were in my mastermind, but in your mind, you're not there yet. You're not big enough yet. You're not whatever yet. You haven't officially, gotten to 1 million followers yet. You haven't whatever. Some of you, you're already disqualifying yourself, even from being in a group like mine. You're telling yourself stories that make no sense, that really are unrealistic. And it's just the enemy trying to come in through a side door with you too. So if you have any desire to know more about my mastermind and the group of women that I get the honor of coaching on a weekly basis, I just want you to get on my wait list. You can go to creatorsnextlevel.com. The mastermind is called the Next Level Mastermind. And go to creatorsnextlevel.com. And we'll let you know when it's open again. Blessings to you, my friend. If this was useful for you, would you share this podcast? Would you tag me on your Instagram story? I'd love to know that it landed for someone. Bless you. Friend, thank you so much for listening to the podcast again this week. I'm so honored that you come back for every episode and that you share the Jennifer Allwood Show with your friends and family. Every time I see you guys post about it on Instagram or Facebook or something, it just makes me do a little happy. So thank you. Make sure that you subscribe to the podcast if you never want to miss an episode. So you can go to Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or Spotify or any of the other podcasting places and subscribe each week so that every week you get the new episode when it releases. So just know that I love bringing you relevant content. I love bringing you great guests. And one of the ways you can help us here at Team Allwood is by leaving the podcast a review. So if you have just a second to do that, would you go over and leave a review for the Jennifer Allwood Show? Thank you again. You're amazing. I'm honored to be here. Until next week. Bye-bye.